Boys, welcome back to the Unfiltered section podcast. Today I'm speaking to Josh, who I originally met, 2 years ago?
2 years ago, we can't beat out our workplace, but our workplace.
Well, one call with this guy changed my life. Literally, I spoke to him and he was like, why don't you just do YouTube? And I was like, fuck yeah, why don't I just do YouTube? And that's literally how all you boys have found me. So Josh, would you explain to anyone who's watching what exactly you do?
All right, what I do. All right, guys, I am a qualified NLP practitioner. So that's neuro-linguistic programming. So I help people change their mindset, help people change their beliefs through one-on-one work, basically. That in layman's terms, that's what I do.
What do you think right now is the most common challenge or issue that you help guys with?
Most common, I'd say, like it's what we talked about before. I'd say limiting beliefs and also fear. Fear is the biggest one, because most times, right, people know what they need to do. Like they know what they need to do. It's not like a shortage of information. It's just having the courage to actually go out and take action and do the thing. So most people just need a little bit of accountability. They just need somebody to hold them accountable, to say, like, you say you're going to do this. You say you want to achieve this. I'll hold you accountable. I'll help you with it. I'll challenge you when you're BSing yourself. That's all it is. It's not like you don't know what to do. You just need the courage to push yourself out there and do it. That's just it.
That's some self-improvement. We can literally end the podcast right here. That's all you needed to know, boys. Is you have to start taking action. And so, Josh, why do you think a lot of these guys aren't taking action?
You know what? Yeah, it's simple, bro. It's fair. It's fair. You don't think that you can do it. You don't think that you're capable. It's what we talked about before, limiting beliefs about what you believe is possible for yourself. Like sometimes you can think that there's something that you want to do, there's something that you want to achieve, but you think that it's not for you. So you think that maybe there's something wrong with you as an individual. You think like you're broken as an individual, or you think that your circumstances are too hard for you to overcome. But really what it is you just got to go for things. And like, it sounds so simple when I say like go for things, like you've never heard that before, but it's different when you actually start taking the steps. You start taking the steps and doing it, because like saying something and doing things is something completely different. When you're doing and you're experiencing the thing, it's different, bro. It's like heart attack. You're scared. You're like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. But it brings about a crazy level of growth. So it's about just stepping out and doing it. And this is what you're going to do when you speak. When you're watching Hamza's videos day to day, what he's actually showing you is showing you what's possible. This guy's built a business. I remember when we met in the gym, he was telling about all the things he was going to do. He's gone out there and done it. He's been consistent with his YouTube. You know, saying he's been uploading consistently, changing men's lives. I saw the testimonial. Y'all saw the testimonial, right? It's possible. It's just about, first of all, just taking the step and actually doing it. Like, it doesn't have to be that complicated. Of course, there are other mindset things that we have to work on, certain things that you have to be addressed. But the thing about mindset work is that it's never going to be a complete thing. You're never going to be fully perfect. There's always going to be something that you need to work on. But as long as you just screw your head on enough to be able to take a bit of action and do both at the same time, you'll be fine.
Well said. Let's talk about that first day we met, man. So we worked in the same job. We what was it? We sent in each other emails or something. We're like, yo, I'm trying to go to the gym later.
That's it. Yo, that's how it began. I realized we both had a passion for the gym because we had another friend, Christian, who used to talk to you more. So Hamza was like, yeah, man, I train in the morning and I train at lunch. So we got together and we trained at lunch. And I realized this guy was red pill. So I was like, I never run. Somebody else. So, bro, honestly, we clicked like that and started sharing ideas. And then here we are, man. Here we are like a whole year later.
With that original conversation you have with a guy that you think might be red pilled, and you're slightly you're not going to outwardly say it, but you're slightly like, what kind of YouTubers do you watch? Like,
that's it.
MS? But
yeah. Bro, that's exactly how it started. I was like, brother. So I could speak freely with Hamza. But yeah, that's how we met, man. That's how we met.
That brings us to an interesting point. What do you think about how red pill influences your mindset?
I think red pill is a beautiful thing. I think people take it to extremes, though. You got to be careful with which red pillers you're listening to, because I feel the core message is self-improvement, which is important for any man, especially as you're trying to develop and build your own thing. You need the self-improvement. So of course, mindset work. So reading books, developing yourself, taking action things, taking risks, and having those learning experiences. That's very, very important. And also focusing on yourself. So putting yourself first. Like, I know most guys make the same mistake. We've all made it. Like in our early days where, for example, you meet a romantic interest, you really, really like them, and then you make them your whole life. And you think you're doing the right thing. And as a result of that, you forget about yourself, and then you start being lazy in other areas of your life. She takes over your whole life, and then eventually she loses attraction and she leaves you. That's it. So yeah, I think red pill is very, very important. Very, very important. But don't take things to extremes, because there's some men on there who are red pill and they're just bitter. They're bitter because they've been heartbroken. So you want to be careful of who you listen to.
Do you know, that's definitely true. But I found that the guys who are red-pilled and bitter aren't actually really red-pilled. They're mostly the guys who are going in the transition period right now. They're the guys who hate women, and they're saying a lot of sexist, horrible stuff. And they're actually the blue pill guys. I actually made a video, which I've never released to anyone, but it's sitting in the private, if anyone wants a direct link to it, where I titled it "Blue Pill Men Are Clueless, Bitter, and a Danger to Society." And
oh yeah.
The horrible red pill misogynistic sexist guy is actually just a blue pill guy who just suddenly got onto red pill. He's learned everything about shit tests and game and the 80-20 rule and everything. And now he's turned bitter. He's just going through the anger period. But
that's it. The red pill rage, as they call it.
That's it. Red pill rage. Give him 6 months, give him 12 months. If he doesn't have limiting beliefs, if he books a call with Josh, then you're going to see him transform into that ideal self-improved guy who eventually understands that you can't hate women for being women, and all you've got to do is focus on your own improvement.
That's it, man. Work on that unconscious as well. The unconscious mind's an important thing that we're talking about limiting beliefs. One thing I find amazing is that a lot of the limiting beliefs you get from like childhood experiences or things that are like traumatic experiences where you decide that this is the type of person I'm going to be, and this is it. And you're not consciously aware you're making this decision, but unconsciously you just kind of accept that kind of thing. And I remember one of my favorite stories or analogies in the personal development world is the example of the elephant. You know, like what they do to like baby elephants when they take them to what do you call it, to the circus? Like they tie them up to that rod, like a stake in the ground or whatever. And because the elephant's a baby and it's not strong enough to pull itself away from the rod, it struggles. So it struggles and struggles and struggles. And it comes to a point where the elephant gets worn down and it's like, you know what, bun it. I ain't going to pull on this little rod no more. I won't be able to escape this thing. And eventually it grows. And it grows to the point where it's so big that it could just tear down the place. It could just smash up the circus, choke the owner, smash it up, but it doesn't try anymore, right? Because it doesn't think that it can do it. But so just because you've had experiences in the past, or you've had things that happened to you in the past that you couldn't overcome, or you struggled in the past, does not mean that it equals the same in the future. So mindset work, subconscious, limiting beliefs, like Hamza said, it's important, man.
That's such a great analogy. Do you know, perhaps 1 or 2 years ago, I would have been thinking, what the hell are you guys talking about? Just tell me how many reps to do in the gym. Just tell me what line to use when I speak to the girl. Like, why are they talking, what the fuck's limiting beliefs? Like, why are you being weird, man? But now I realize how important this is, because every book I'm reading emphasizes how important your thoughts are and your belief system is. At first, I thought it was that feminine law of attraction, just say you'll be a millionaire, you'll be a millionaire. But now I realize, boys, a lot of the guys I'm speaking to, and I'm sure Josh will experience this, that a lot of the guys you come to, it's like perfectly the elephant analogy. They've got that chain around them from something that happened as a child, and they don't realize that the chain is just in their mind. That they can't go to the gym because 7 years ago they tried to and they couldn't get consistent. A lot recently, even this goes quite deep and quite traumatic. You mentioned this, the childhood traumatic experiences. A couple of guys I'm coaching were abused as children. I made that binge eating video because this is something I keep continuously seeing with guys who binge eat, with guys who overdose on drugs, abused as children. And it's almost like even when they're 30 years old and very successful, they have a perception of themselves as somewhat of bad people who deserve to not be at like a healthy weight. And it's almost like they're somewhat either punishing themselves, or they've still got a certain level of anxiety because of that event, and now they overdose on junk food or the drug to ease that level of anxiety.
It's true. It's true. And it all stems from sometimes a deep-rooted fear that you don't believe that you're worthy of love. And that's one of the deepest things. And you may not like, what? I don't believe I'm worthy of love. Sometimes that's what it is. Like, especially with, I think, with like binge eating, I've noticed, like when somebody's had like a traumatic experience, maybe they've been abused or whatever, sometimes that's a coping mechanism. You start binge eating or you start overeating to get overweight, to repel people from coming to you because you're afraid. So it gets deep like that, so it's true, like, which is why it's so important. Like, I think every man should invest in counseling or therapy. Therapy is a beautiful thing, honestly. So it gets all that stuff out of you. Sometimes you need to do that deep work.
That's exactly what one guy actually said, that when he dove deep into it, he took my recommendation to start journaling, really, really diving deep into why he binge eats. And he said one of the reasons is definitely because he feels safer at a much heavier weight, because he's less physically attractive, less desirable to any potential abuser.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But the thing is, it's like your mind is actually working for you, but it just not working for you in the way that you want it to go. Your mind's just trying to keep you safe. It's like, yo, what happened back then? That can't happen again. Boy, let's eat. So it does it. But so your unconscious is like, yeah, let's keep you safe. Your conscious mind is like, I want relationships. So journaling is a powerful thing, man, honestly. Like similar to Hamza, I remember last year when you were making your transition and doing your own thing. I remember we spoke about journaling, and we talked about having a gratitude journal as well. So doing that deep work. Guys, if you don't do it, stop. Like, journaling is a powerful thing, especially when you're just writing out how you feel, because there's no right or wrong way to do it. But as you do it, you get better at like highlighting the emotions that you're feeling. I feel like when I started journaling, like I was like, I don't know how I feel. I was like, I feel fine, or I feel good. But as you do it, you get better at like, oh, I feel a little bit of fear. Oh, I feel a little bit anxious. Oh, I feel a little bit this. So it'll change your life. It makes you more open to new experiences as well. So journaling, what Hamza said, bang on.
What would you say to the guy who says, journaling, nah, that's for girls, I'm not keeping a diary?
Bro, you just shoot yourself in the foot then. Shoot yourself in the foot. It's one of those ones where it's a therapeutic thing. And it sounds very simple. And that's what most things are. They're simple. But it's not until you actually do the practice that you find out there's certain things in you that you're not even aware of that are controlling. It brings out the unconscious. It brings things to conscious awareness. Like I remember last year I had a mentor who got me on this, the journaling. He said, I want you to start fear journaling, because you're saying that the real reason that you don't have the things that you want, or you don't go for the things that you want, is that you're afraid. And at the time, if you're telling me that, I was like, me afraid? I've read all these books. I'm not afraid of anything, right? So I started journaling, bro, and deep things were coming out, like the fear of believing that you're not worthy of things. And that came up from journaling, from writing things. I was like, why do I feel afraid? Why do I feel anxious? It's important that these things come up, because once they come up and you acknowledge and you realize the areas that you may be afraid of, where your limiting beliefs are, they no longer control you. Now you have a choice. But you need to get that awareness. Without that awareness, you carry on moving on autopilot. So it's true. It's life-changing, man, honestly. Like, how did you get into journaling yourself? Have you shared the story of how you got into that?
It was when I took that Science of Wellbeing course. So I mentioned that course so many times to the boys. It's like a free course on Coursera, and she mentions the importance of gratitude journaling and of meditation. And so as I took that course, since May 12th, I've missed less than 10 days of both practices, which is insane consistency for a guy who's literally never been consistent in anything else apart from lifting weights before. And oh man, there's so many analogies you can use to try and describe it to someone, but it's only when it happens to you that you understand how important it is. And so it really goes back to just taking action. Stop listening to your mind, which tells you that it's not beneficial, and listen to the minds of men who hopefully you can trust, because the world has been forever changed by the journals of successful, powerful men. I have Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, probably one of the most well-known journals ever made. And there's got to be a reason why pretty much every single successful man ever has a journal. There's got to be a reason why 80% of successful people meditate. It's because it works. It's just that you're a complete beginner. You're a noob right now. And so you've meditated twice, you journaled once, and you're like, oh, this stuff doesn't work. What do you say to a guy like that?
Bro, when I say to a guy like that, I'm saying, You know what? Don't judge it until you've given it a proper run. I said, give it at least a month. Like you'll see the difference. Like I was the same. I was exactly the same. Like when I had the mentor who got me on that, like for the first, I'll say maybe the first 3 weeks, I didn't do it. So we had a consultation call. It's like, oh, so have you been doing the mindset work that I gave you? The journals there. And I was like, no. I was like, I don't need it. And once again, no, I've been reading all these books. And it's like, nah, you won't be successful until you do it. Like he told me, listen, if you want to continue staying where you are right now, right, don't do it. Because this is what, like all, I wouldn't say all, but I'll say the large majority, at least 95% of successful people do these practices. And it makes a difference. Like, for example, gratitude journaling. What you're actually doing is you're training your mind to perceive things, to acknowledge what you have already. And when you have that focus of the awareness of what you have already and you're grateful for it, your energy changes. And you're more likely to, people are more likely to give you things. People are more likely to be more receptive to you. And I remember when I started, after the first month or so, I was happy. Like I remember I was working a job that I hated at the time, but I was logging on and I was pleasant. I used to have an attitude with the customers. So I was like, you know, today's a good day. Like, but you notice the difference when you stop. I remember there was a period where, like during like second lockdown, where I went through like a week or two where I didn't do it, and I noticed that attitude coming back. So it does make a difference, but like it's something that you have to see for yourself. Like you can listen to me, you can listen to Hamza telling you over and over again to do it, but you can't understand the thing until you do it. There's certain things a book can't explain, and that's one of them until you actually practice it.
Well, Josh, I've got some advice for you and for any guy watching if you're trying to get into gratitude journaling. What a client actually gave me this fantastic idea. Keep your journal literally right next to your bed, pen right there. As soon as you wake up, grab it and start writing. And imagine the power of that. You're going to wake up after, let's say, 66 days, however long it takes a habit, and you're going to be in the habit of waking up feeling grateful. Is that not like a superpower? Because most of you guys are waking up after like 6 hours of sleep at 2 p.m. just that's all over your bed sheets from last night's OnlyFans. And imagine the comparison of this. And one of the things I've noticed, obviously, it makes you more grateful. When you're more grateful, you're more happy. But what I've noticed for a lot of you guys who are currently trying to get girls as well, it makes you so much more attractive to everyone. But if a lot of you guys, okay, you're just horny motherfuckers, you're trying to get some girls. It makes you so much more attractive to them. No girl has ever had a guy say that he's grateful that she came on the date with him, apart from the girls that I dated. It's like their jaw drops when I say that to them, because they're used to guys like, acting cool and all this stuff. And here's like a guy like me actually saying like, Sarah, I'm grateful you came out today. Am I not like the sweetest guy? Were you going to expect that from a guy like me? It makes someone so happy when you say that. And so one of the things that I did for Josh as well is I started doing letters of gratitude instead of just gratitude journaling. How did that feel when I sent that to you?
Bro, it felt beautiful. I was just like, I still have it. I was like a screenshot. I was like, I like this. It's in my files, bro. It made me so happy. Like my energy was like, I was like, I really like Hamza. I do. But honestly, it is different. When you're able to express gratitude to people, it's different. It's kind of like complimenting people. Like there are different kinds of compliments that you can give. So you can give like a generic one, like, oh, you look nice today, or like, I like what you did there. But a compliment is significantly more powerful when you can like address something or a quality in a person and give an example of when they did it. And that's what your letter did. Like, for example, rather than saying, Sarah, I think you're really smart, you can be like, Sarah, man, I really admire the fact that you're really smart. Like when you handled this challenge, I thought that was really amazing. It carries a lot more weight when you give an example, because it just shows that you're paying attention to people. And people value that, man. People want to feel important. Like all deep down, we're all me monsters. We all love ourselves. But if somebody can like acknowledge us and see us and appreciate us, oh, man, people will fall in love with you, man. They'll never want you to leave.
Literally. You read this book, all the boys have read this book. A huge part of it is making the other person feel appreciated, make them feel important. And perhaps the easiest and best way to do that is to tell them you're grateful for them. There's probably no better compliment, because you don't even have to really say anything else. You say you're grateful for them, and that's an overall compliment of everything that they've done for you. It's insane how happy someone feels and how they respond back to you. And it literally takes like seconds out of your day. To write this letter for Josh took me perhaps 2 minutes, 30 seconds because what happened, if you don't know, I started doing letters of gratitude instead of just gratitude journaling. So every day I would title it to someone. So I did Josh, I did some old friend, I did my family, and I just write all the things I was grateful. And then what I'd do is I'd send them a picture and also read it out to them on voice note for like an extra personal touch so they could hear my voice. And how does that make you feel?
It feels beautiful. And I remember I did a similar practice as well. Like, I remember there was a time, I can say it now because I don't work there no more. I used to work at Victoria's Secrets. So that's like one of my first ever jobs I did. And there were all these different girls. And I remember before I left, actually, no, it was not even before I left. There was a period. I don't know why I did it, but I just wanted to write everybody a letter. So there are like 80 different girls there. So I wrote every single girl a letter. I was like, wow. Yeah, I was like, Chloe, you know, I really like it, but I think you're beautiful. Yeah, I really like the fact that you did this and this and this for me. And I always relish this memory. And I tell you now, when they all received it the next day, I was treated like a king, bro. Worshipped. They were like, Josh, thank you. Everyone was so nice. And the thing that touched me was like, even a couple of years later, a girl messaged me and said, I've still got the letter. And it just shows you how rare it is. Like, a lot of people don't get that. Like what Hamza said, people don't show them gratitude. They don't show them appreciation. They don't, or maybe they think it, but they don't say it to them. And those words stick with people. So that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, a powerful practice, even Hamza, I still got it right now and I'm gassed with it. So it makes a massive difference being able to do that.
So then, let's say the guy who's watching this right now is thinking, okay, it makes other people feel nice, but what's in it for me?
What's in it for you? Like, I think that the betterment of your own relationships, I think. Like, of course, I think it's twofold. Like, when you show gratitude to somebody else, I think it does something for you as well. Because when you give and you see that they're happy, or better yet, even if it's not outcome dependent, when you give, I think I personally feel good when I give. When I give, I think, wow, you know what, I've done a good thing, even if the person doesn't show the gratitude themselves, because you're giving from a place of, this is who I am, not dependent on the outcome that they get. But what you often find is that when you do it, your relationships will improve. Like, people will like you more when you're showing gratitude to them, when you're telling them what you think, when you're showing them the appreciation. Like, one practice from that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, that I did do was listening, just being a better listener. So like you go in and you gauge people and you talk to them and you take interest in what they're interested in. So let's say like one of my boys who I met over lockdown, social distancing, we trained together. So he lives around the corner from me and we go to my friend's house. Han, he's got a garden gym. So I had to build a relationship with him and we'd speak in the car. And I realized that he was really, really fond of his brother. Like he's a younger brother. His brother's like 17, but he's a beast. So he's really proud of his brother's strength. So when I hopped in the car, I'll just talk to him about his brother. I'll be like, wow, how's your brother doing? And this guy would go on, he'll talk. And before you know it, we're there. And before you know, it's like, you're like, oh, you know, I really like these conversations I have with you, Josh. But I've not spoken one word about myself. He's been speaking about him. But he enjoys the company. He enjoys hanging out with me. So it's improved the relationship and the rapport. And now he goes out of his way to help me out. He just picks me up sometimes for him to go to the gym. I don't have to ask, right? But that's just as a result of me paying attention to him, making him feel important, talking about the things that are important to him. Because people often don't take interest in other people. People talk about themselves. So it's a powerful practice.
There is so much benefit for you. It's just that you've got to use more of your brain cells to understand what the benefit is. Because instantly it feels, okay, you're doing something nice for someone else. But that act of kindness always comes around. Because let's imagine some scenarios. Josh wrote all those letters for those girls. He's going to be walking past this city one time and a group of those girls are going to be in some kind of restaurant. They're going to be in some bar and they're all going to be like shouting his name to tell him to come join them for a bit. I wrote him that letter. If I end up walking past his house or where he's training, it's like instantly I'm going to be invited into the gym workout. Instantly. Of course you are. Following the How to Win Friends principles, I've literally got influencers lined up to come and do these podcasts just because I spoke in their terms instead of mine. I didn't say, oh, I've got a podcast. Would you care to help me with my... No, I said, I've got an audience of X. I'll be sending them straight to your platform. You're bound to get a couple of guys who will go onto your stuff. I talk directly in terms of theirs. I've got like a whole list of unopened Instagram messages right now of guys who are far more successful than me, who are actually really keen to get onto the podcast with me. That's my benefit. My business is growing because I'm following these tactics.
That's it. You're appealing to their self-interest. That's it. So it's not about you speaking about what you want. It's about speaking to what they want. And it applies to marketing, applies to business and everything. Like, for example, like let's say you're starting a business and you want to, I don't know, let's say, okay, for example, let's say you're a personal trainer. The personal trainers that do well are the ones who appeal to the person. Somebody like, I'm gonna help you lose weight quickly. Like that's something that appeals to me. It's not like so rather than me saying, you know what, I want to really train you to help you change your mindset through lots of hard work over 3 months' time so that you can feel for your best fulfilled life. That doesn't appeal to people as much as like, I'm going to help you lose weight real quick. I'm going to help you get into the best body or best shape of your life. Because you're speaking in their language, their verbiage, not yours. So that's true.
It all links together. You get to speak in their language in terms of their interests when you listen to them. And one of the things that I've noticed when I coach a bunch of you young guys, especially the ones who are semi-professional in the tech industry, especially, have this type of mindset where they think like, oh no, like social skills aren't needed. I don't even need to know about people skills because I'm just a coder. Well, what are you coding? You're coding a product for the people. Imagine you compared to the guy who has got social skills. He's going to get the job. He's going to get the contract. And he's also going to develop a better product because he knows who he's talking to. Even in a niche, a field like that, where you're not directly speaking to the consumer, you'd heavily benefit from still leveling up your social skills.
Social skills are important, man. And it's also about being likable as well, because I think people will overlook your issues or overlook your flaws if they like you. Like I remember there's this book called Lynchpin, and there's an example of some guy. He used to work in a hospital. Okay, and he wasn't like the greatest doctor or whatever, but he'll sit at the bedside of the patients he was working with, and he'll talk them through what was going to happen. So like, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, we're going to do this and this and this. And what they found out was that even though there were errors, sometimes when the doctor would make an error or they'll mess up the treatment, the patients were less likely to sue them just because they liked him, because he spent more time with them. Because you don't sue people you like. So it's the same thing. Like if you like really invest in your social skills, really work on like appealing to people's self-interest, really work on like really paying attention to what people say and then talking about what they like, that makes a massive difference. So you do need the social skills.
And it boils down to that mindset, because social skills, all of this, the ability to want to listen and to speak in their terms, not just, first level upgrade from your normal behavior is to do it in a forced way, just because you're trying to get something from them. You understand that listening's better, right? I mean, that's a bit of an improvement, but what you want is actually you want to listen to them, not just for the benefit, but because you start realizing that everyone needs to talk. Like the overwhelming majority of people need to talk. And I honestly don't know many people at all, maybe a handful, if even that, of people who actually listen. Most people, when they're in a conversation, they're not even talking and listening. They don't trade roles of talking and listening like me and Josh are doing here. We're doing this so well because we've read this book and because we've practiced this skill. But most people, I'm sure you'll agree, it's like two people are talking. It's just that they're having a break of talking whilst they let the other person talk. But they're not listening to him while he's talking about something else. They've already generated the sentence that they're going to be saying.
It's true. It's like, oh, I can't. Like while they're talking, I can't wait to share my example of this. Or, oh, it's like when this happened to me. You're like, bro, you don't just hear what I just said. I just opened up to you. No questions. Yeah, man, it's different. Like when you have those follow-up questions, somebody says something like, oh, really? You did this? How did this happen? What made you do this? Those questions are questions that are often not asked. And that's why, like I'd say, I don't have a lot of super, super close friends that I could talk to like that. Because a lot of people don't listen. Like Hamza listens, is very good. Some of my friends handling listen, people do stuff. But it's a dialogue. But for most people, it's a monologue. They just about what I want to talk about what I've done and my experiences. And it's draining. It is very draining. So once again, you would fare well to practice this. Read the book, practice the principles.
So this is kind of like the bigger movements of self-improvements. The ultimate purpose after you've reached your potential is to try and get other people onto it. One time someone asked me a fantastic question. Okay, I'm reading this book and I'll be doing these principles, but no one's doing it for me. And I said, you know what? That's exactly right. Because you're part of like the privileged society who have been given this knowledge right now. That's why once it works for you and you realize how much more people like you, you're going to start preaching this book to everyone else, because you're going to wish to have conversations with another guy who's read the book.
That's it. And it goes back to your video where you talked about that no man's an island. The lone wolf dies alone. That's it. So you want to start building a community, because like as you start reading, you naturally you become a leader. It is what it is. Because a lot of people don't want to take the effort to do the self-improvement. They don't want to watch the videos. They don't want to do the deep work. They don't want to push themselves out of the comfort zone. But as you do that, you become a model to other people. People start looking at you like, I wonder what he's got. Okay, and then you're in a position where you can start preaching it. Maybe you can start your own groups and involve other people. You get involved in this community that Hamza's got as well, where you're talking to other men underneath the comments, because you need other people. Because self-improvement can be a lonely place. So you want to surround yourself with other people who are on a similar journey to you, because one, it empowers you, it gives you energy, and it's encouraging as well to see other people on the same path.
That's a really important point, that self-improvement can be a very lonely path. What is your self-improvement story?
Oh man, like it goes back. The layers to this. Okay, so initially it started off in sports. So I used to play football. I was decent. I played to a high level. So I remember I was playing for United at one point, and then I got released. Yeah, so I got released, man. So I wasn't deemed good enough to carry on playing. So I remember there was a point where I went to another trial. So this was like when I was 17, 18 for Oldham Athletic, and I didn't get in. And I remember I said I wasn't going to go to uni because in my mind I was thinking I'm going to go play pro, but it didn't work out. So at that point I was like, damn, what am I going to do? So I started gymming, and I started, like, you know how you see those cringe motivational quotes? You see like, oh, you can do it. So I started reading books and that kind of thing. So I was reading books, and I was like new to that kind of thing in the gym. So I tried to build up my own business. That plummeted in that field. But then where it really got deep was when I had my first heartbreak. That's what did it. So there's a girl that I was talking to that I used to work with, and I really liked her. I did all the simpy things, and it blew up. I have to share the story. I have to share the story because it's embarrassing, but it encouraged the people. So I remember I was persistently pursuing her, and she wasn't feeling me, but I wasn't like comprehending the signs. I was like, maybe I just need to try a little bit harder. So I remember at the workplace, it was like Valentine's Day. No, it was Christmas, close to Christmas. So, in town, how they have those people who are like selling the roses and the chocolates. I got all these roses, and I got all these Ferrero Rochers, like, the big box, the big ones. We have like multiple.
So we got those coconut ones, bro.
The custom ones, boy. And I wrote a card. I was like, I really like you. I even, what? It was so cringe, bro, because I liked her a lot. And I knew her favorite color was green, and she used to like those green jelly babies. So I even drew green jelly babies on the card and colored them in, and I put it, look, green jelly babies. So, sim. So I did it, and I brought him to work, and I put him in a locker, and I went to her, and I went, I left something for you. So she goes and sees it, and she gets a card, and then she goes, I got you a card. So at the end of the shift, she's like, make sure you read the card. So I read the card, and then I open the card, and I was like, yeah, thank you for that. I like you as a brother. Stab in the chest. Bleed. Oh boy. And you think it'll end there, right? It didn't end there. So she's like, we'll be friends. So me was like, oh, fine, we can be friends. Maybe I'll win her over. So we carry on, and I still kept trying to make moves over and over again. And eventually got to the point where I saw a video on YouTube where it showed all these people, all these guys like professing their love to their friends, their female friends, and all the girls were like, yeah, I want to be in a relationship with you. So I tried one more time. I rang, and I was like, I just want you to know that I really like you. And then she was like, nah, man, I can't see you anymore. This can't happen anymore. She's like, I don't like you like that, yada, yada, yada. And then she cut me out of her life like that. So that was like the deepest heartbreak I've ever felt. Like, bro, I was crying on the treadmills in the gym. It was that bad. So at that point,
yourself with cardio.
Boy, I was crying. It's so embarrassing because you're telling all your boys in the group chat, like, hey, this is good. They're like, yeah, man, go for it. But it blew up in my face. So I was crying on the treadmill. I'll never forget this. It was a Thursday. I was crying on the treadmill. And I thought, bro, this is never going to happen to me again. This feeling that I have, this can't happen again. So I got real deep into it, this personal development. And years on, here we are. Learn about the red pill and everything. So that's what got me in it. How about you? I don't think I've ever heard your personal development story like that, though.
It was a little bit similar to that, but imagine with multiple different girls over a 1 or 2 year period, getting intense crushes for girls and not having any confidence to do it. Just trying to, build up to speaking to them in classroom and like stuttering whilst I say it. And then 6 months later, seeing that they had like a new boyfriend on Facebook and feeling my heart just crumble, just going to sleep, cuddling my pillow every night, thinking about that. There's a dry hump in my pillow. Nothing worked, man. Honestly, I had absolutely zero success with girls, but a lot of it, honestly, was because of limiting beliefs. That's why I really wanted Josh to come onto this podcast, because I was so convinced that girls wouldn't like me because I was brown skinned. And so my theory became correct, but it wasn't because I was brown skinned. It was because I framed it like a pussy. I went into every single interaction already thinking that she doesn't like me. And now compare that to now, when I go into every single interaction already thinking that they love me. And the success is tenfold different. So every single girl I had a crush on, nothing worked. I wouldn't exactly simp, because I just didn't have the confidence to even message them more than what was like socially acceptable. But I'd send them stuff like, oh, hey, what you doing? They'd be like, oh, I'm just getting ready. What about you? And I'd be like, oh, I'm speaking to a cute girl on Facebook. Just no reply for like 5 hours straight. I ended up finding all the stuff online, but I didn't even dive deep into it at first. I remained on a very, very basic level for a long time. Got a girlfriend. Then after breaking up with this girlfriend, I had that full-on heartbreak, depression period for like a whole 28 days of fully being so upset that I lost like the girl that I planned my life with. And it wasn't even like a simping thing. It wasn't even that she broke up with me. It was literally just she dropped out of uni for health problems and moved like 100 miles away. So it was like, it was full on as bad as the heartbreak could be, because you still wanted to be together. Yeah, I wasn't going to do any kind of long. Even at this point, I had the sense to not do a long distance relationship. So I'm so glad. And then straight after that, obviously, I started getting into pickup. I started getting into night game, especially in clubs, because that was my scene. And doing a little bit of YouTubing on that. Eventually, found like stuff like AMS and Red Pill. And since that point, following the Red Pill's standard advice, there's been 0 times that they've been wrong. Like quite literally every single time I followed their advice with a girl, I've gotten the girl. Every time that I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe they're wrong, because I've slept with like a lot of girls now. I'm sure I'm better than the Red Pill. I can do whatever I want. And then I get my heart broken again.
That's it. You do. You think that, oh, don't worry, it's different this time. No, brother.
They've got to be not.
Play by the rules, bro. No one's better than it. Understand human nature for what it is.
That's exactly what it is. I think because we started this call speaking about, the percentage of Red Pill guys who are really, really sexist and bitter. The thing is, because of the way it's structured, you often start to think the Red Pill is that group of guys. So you start to think, oh, are these guys right or are they wrong? And that's the issue. The Red Pill isn't the subreddit. It isn't the guys. It is literally just the natural order of things. Every single person was naturally red pilled 100 years ago, and society made us blue pill. And that's why we struggle with girls, for probably one of the first generations ever who fully struggle with girls, because it's unnatural to be acting unmasculine. It's unnatural to be acting like extremely feminine that the society wants you to, and the society's wanted women to act really masculine. So it's thrown it all off. And now also because of the internet, because hypergamy is put on steroids because of the internet, a few percentage of guys are getting the overwhelming majority of girls. Because why would a girl settle for like your average ass when at the same time, the same effort that she could get you, she could also swipe on a guy who's been working out for 10 years. And of course, the guy's going to right swipe every girl on Tinder anyway. So it's a
nice, right? It's true, man. It's true. Like the absence of the father figure as well makes a massive difference. It does. Like I think was it during the World War time that was the period where the father was away and the dad had to be the son or the boys had to be raised by the mother. You go to school, you're raised by female teachers, so you haven't really got the male model. And then of the male models that you have, there are not many who are fully masculine like that. So you do need a male figure because, like, even me as well. Like I've been raised from a single parent household, and I love my mom to death. She can't teach me to be a man. She can only teach me her idea of what a man is, right? And that's what a woman can do. She can't teach you what to do. They've got the idea of what it is, right? And it's like, do the right thing, say the right thing, be there for your woman all the time, put her first. It sounds like the right thing to do. But when you look at women, what do they emotionally respond to? What they say they want and what they emotionally respond to is completely different. Like the type of guys that your mom dated are completely different to the type of guy that she may be trying to get you to become. It's completely different, which is why it's so important. The work that you're doing is very, very important. Helping men become men again, getting in touch with their masculine core, that self-improvement, that's like the essence of being a man, pursuing, going forward after things. So it's a truth, man. It's a truth. It's a noble work.
Thank you. But this goes that deep. Honestly, at least for me, I don't know if any guys watching this who agrees. For a long time on the red pill, I was only on that basic level. I just thought, okay, how do I get girls? Teach me the exact lines to say, teach me the workout routines. It's just the basic level. And maybe I'm a dumbass, so it took me a while. But I've now realized that it goes so much deeper onto that societal level that Josh just mentioned, that it started with the death of the father. It actually started with feminism. And I never thought I'd be a guy who'd ever say anything bad about feminism because I was raised to think it was so incredibly important, and I still do. But it had consequences that no one really knew about. And it's a very, very weird topic to talk about because the moment you mention it as a man, you're sexist, you're a misogynist, you're a bad person. And that instantly means that we can't ever be critical of something like that. And we are where we are today as a species because of our level of critical thinking, because that's how we've optimized everything. And equal rights was absolute, like it shouldn't have even been something that was only brought in 100 years ago. We should have had it from our start, but it's absolutely needed. But the consequence of that meant that the family was okay without the father because now the government will provide. And so your purpose as a man has been destroyed. Every single guy watching this is roughly 20-ish years old. Every single one of us would have been married with kids right now. Imagine how different your life would have been if you had like two little versions of you. Imagine there's your purpose. You wouldn't be watching a guy like me on YouTube to tell you what your purpose should be. There's your purpose. What are you without that?
It's true. Your life is empty without purpose, man. You need direction. Because I feel like without purpose, you do stupid things, man. You do. Like without I think there's a passage, a biblical proverb that says, without a vision, my people perish. And you do. Like you start doing dumb things. You start fapping all the time. You're busting nuts all over yourself. Like you binge on Netflix, right? Because you need some sort of direction. You need some sort of aim, something to put all your energy into, something to pursue, because that's the essence of masculine energy, to go out and break forward. And it speaks to who we are. Like when you think about most men, what kind of movies do we like? We like action movies. We like sports, like football, rugby, where you're like, you're breaking through some barrier, you're overcoming some sort of resistance. And that's what it's about. You need something like that, something to pursue. So like your ideas are actualizing your ideal self. That journey, man, that gives you structure, that gives you discipline. And for some people, you may think you can be in a place where you're beating yourself up and you think that you're worthless and there's something wrong with you. Sometimes it's just that it's not so that there's something wrong with you. It's just that you need something tangible, something to pursue. I think that you need that. The devil makes work of idle hands, as they say.
Completely true. Very, very much true. What's your purpose?
My purpose at the core is to help men become their best selves. At the core, that's what I do. So it's all about personal development, empowering and encouraging people. That at the core, and there are many different channels that you can do this. So I think purpose is the core, but don't get so stuck on the way that you go about things, because you can limit yourself in one avenue. So like, for example, it can be done through YouTube videos, so encouraging videos. It can be done through drama and plays, because I write plays as well. So I write plays about real life and kind of things, the challenges and seeing people overcome. So the different funnels that you can do it. Because I think with purpose, we can be real linear and think that it's just one particular thing that you do. But purpose has layers. So sometimes it starts off with like your interests. You go into your interests, you experiment with those. And then sometimes you can find that, like, going back to the football example that I gave where I used to play football. It started off with football. I thought football was the thing for me. But sometimes when you pursue it, you find out that the thing that you're going down, or the path that you're going down, isn't necessary for you. You like the idea of it till you find out that, you know what, I don't actually like this thing. But then it leads to something else. And then you do something else. And then once you've exhausted that, and you're like, this isn't it, it leads to something else. The layers to it. And then eventually you get to the pinnacle. So I think it's important not to just box yourself down into one thing, but just start off with what you're interested in and explore that. And it leads to something else.
That is 100% true. Your purpose will continuously change, because your purpose is literally just the most important mission for you right now. And if you pursue it or if you don't pursue it, what's going to happen in months or years is that new stuff is just going to open to you. Some new doors will open to you that you didn't know previously. And so sometimes you're just going to be hit with some kind of huge realization that you've got to save the polar bears. And so, but you wouldn't know that up until you traveled to the Antarctica 10 years from now. And so you've got to hopefully have a purpose throughout life. Now, it won't be the same one, but as long as you've got something that's bigger than yourself, it's self-transcending, you're going to go take some action. Right now, your cost of inaction is not very much. You're not missing out on much, because why would you work hard? Oh yeah, if you put in overtime, you might get an extra £200 for that. It's nothing. You're not helping the greater good right now. You're not achieving something huge. So you don't really need to wake up early. You don't need to quit fapping, because why would you? Why wouldn't you enjoy yourself? You don't need to quit video games if you don't have a purpose. And every single one of you want to do the opposite of what I just said. You want to quit video games. You want to quit fapping. You want to quit binge eating. You want to be at the maximum, the apex of your self-improvement, reaching your potential. The only reason you'll be able to do that is when you've got a purpose. So Josh, what would you say to the guy who hasn't found his purpose yet?
Hasn't found his purpose. Don't beat yourself up. The first thing that you need to do is experience loads of things. So put yourself out there and try things. And I think it just starts off with what? Starting off with your interests. What do you like? Start there. Right, and explore, because there are many different ways that people find their purpose. So I've been reading the laws of human nature, and it talks about the different ways that people do. So some people get it from like just childhood inclinations. There's just something that they just gravitate to. So like, what's his name? The guy who made Apple, Steve Jobs. For him, it was just always technology. He knew it and he saw it, and it's like, yep, this is for me. There was another Russian theater production guy. He didn't know his purpose till his parents took him out to the theater to see dramas and plays, and he's like, wow, this is for me. And for some people, they have to explore different things. There was one famous Japanese director who for like 30 years of his life, he didn't know what he wanted to do. So he did loads of things. He traveled, he tried many different things. And it wasn't until he was working at some random job, some production place. And he saw this director who was like directing a movie so excellently and eloquently. And he's like, wow, this looks amazing to me. Let me give that a go. And he became one of the best. I can't remember his name, but it's just about experiencing different things. I'm just pushing this up while you're young. Travel, talk to people who are excellent in their field, and just try things, because it's just by trying things that you find out what your taste for life is, what your taste is. So doing nothing won't help you.
It's so interesting that this is literally all linked, because listen to what Josh just said. Try things and speak to new people. You have to pick up this book every 2 seconds. Literally, you find your purpose as you speak to more people. Now, of course, your purpose could be something to do with the environment and the animals, but very, very likely it's going to be something to do with other people. It might be to do with yourself, and that's a pretty good purpose. But the best purpose is when you help other people or something bigger than you, the environment or whatever. And you'll learn what it is as you speak to more people with better social skills. You'll be invited to more events, and you'll actually understand. You're going throughout your day, you end up making a new friend, and this friend does volunteering at the homeless shelter. And then there you go, you found your purpose. You're like, oh my God, I've really, really got to help these people. And every day after that, you're going to wake up with a drive, and it's going to feel like the best period of life so far, because you're finally doing something better than you. And this advice, I know it sounds pretty dumb, because quite literally our advice sounds like what your mother told you, which is get out your house and go and try new things. It's so cliche, but there's a reason why you hear this, and you've heard this advice like 100 times so far, because trying new things leads you to that moment when you find your purpose, you find the hobbies that you're good at, you find your strengths. And that is so important as a young man.
It's true. It's the truth, man. New experiences. You got to try, especially while you're young, while there's like Hamza said before, you've not really got a lot to lose right now. Go for things before you get older and you start getting burdened with responsibilities. Now's the time to really go out. Yeah, you need the social skills. Practice things, try things. Don't be afraid to fail. You know what I'm saying? It's about learning. It's a natural way of life.
Tell us about your play.
Tell us. All right, dang, yeah. Plays. So I remember we did one on domestic abuse. So we did several. Not all of them went well, but it started off because I remember I used to do drama in high school and college, and I used to write plays. And my mom was like, "Your plays are really good." And it was at the local church at the time. They're like, "You know, why don't you do plays?" So they're like, "Yeah, I know you can write plays. Just don't you do one?" So we did one. The first one we did, I think it was on domestic abuse. So I wanted to share like the reality of it and how somebody can overcome that situation. So me and my friends, we got together, we wrote it out, we got a bit of good music, and we dimmed the lights and everything, and we did it. And I remember at the end of it, like it was like the best feeling though. People were crying, they're like, "Oh, I could relate to this." And I was thinking, I was like, "Oh, my plane, my plane did this. I could do this." You know, so but the thing is the actualization process that did a lot for me, because at the time I never thought I could be somebody who could lead people to create an ideal, to create a vision. So I had to practice the skills of sharing the vision, talking to people, trying to keep people accountable, say, "Guys, come on time, let's do this, communicating with the Lion team, organizing things to bring it to life." So that did a whole lot for my confidence. Then we did another one a year later, which was terrible. That one went so badly. It was horrific. And we did others that went well as well. But it brought me so much joy, and it brought me to the essence of like what my purpose is, to encourage other people and to empower other people. So predominantly for me at the moment, it's men. But at the time, I was like, I just want to encourage and empower people and inspire people. And that was like one of the first channels that I used to do that.
That's adorable, man. What happened with that one that went horrible?
Oh, right. So it was a Christmas one. So it was at church.
Christmas must give you some PTSD, man.
I was never thinking about, oh, Hamza, bro. Because you realize, I think part of it was, maybe it was rushed, but also the thing is, this, like when you're doing plays, there's a part of you that your ego is attached to it, right? Because it's your name, your thing. So bear in mind, right? We've done the successful play prior to this. So now I'm excited. I'm thinking, bro, I'm gonna invite my friends. They're gonna come see this thing. I'm gonna come see this joint. So this time I'm using younger kids. I'm using kids, and I'm giving them all the plays and everything. So we're rehearsing, but during rehearsals, people are bickering and fighting. I think there was one kid who laid hands on another girl, obviously scrapping. So it was interrupting the process of rehearsal. So we're running out of time now. Then some parents aren't bringing their kids to the rehearsal, so that's stressing me. So I'm having to pay money out of my own account to Uber the kids to the rehearsal. So we're doing this. We're getting close to the time now, and like not everybody's learned the line. So I'm a little bit concerned, but I'm like, don't worry, man. They'll come through. So this is the night of the show now. The night of the show, one of the main kids, he had an important role to play, and he asked me for this role, so I gave it to him. So I'm like, okay, we're doing the rehearsal. I'm like, okay, all right. So have you learned your lines? The kid's like, I don't know my lines. So I was like, what do you mean you don't know your lines? He's like, oh, I don't know. So now I have to figure out a way to write his lines on a piece of paper, but not make it look bait that he's reading the lines. So the play starts. So it's like, it's an okay start. It's going all right. So this kid comes on. So now he's not learned his lines and he's butchering his lines. It's going terrible. I'm thinking, oh my God, he's messing this up. But it begins to get worse. So bear in mind, all my boys are here now. They're all watching this. So then this lady's in the audience as well. She's got this unruly little kid that she can't control. So this kid starts wailing, crying. I'm just thinking, damn, something goes wrong with the mics. Bear in mind, because this is rush. So the person who's controlling the mics loses control of the mic. So now you're losing sound. So this kid's going, we can't hear the people who are speaking. People are fumbling the lines. And on top of that, people are coming in at the wrong times. So like, because people didn't, like I said, people didn't understand and learn the script. What happens now is that there's a particular scene that's supposed to happen. So the lights black out. We've changed everything. And then the lights come back on. For like a good 30, 45 seconds, nobody comes on. And I'm just thinking, oh my God, where are these kids right now? Right? It was horrific. When I tell you that everything that could have gone wrong, went wrong, it went wrong. And you know what? At the end, I'll tell you how I knew it was bad. You know when people don't clap at the end? That's what it was. It was one of them ones where it's like, ah, we finished. And it was just like, I was livid. I remember in the back, I was like, you kids found me. You embarrassed me. And then I remember I had to face my boys at the end. And I was like, they're like, yeah. And no one said anything because they knew it was bad. It was humiliated. They're like, yeah, just how you gonna lie to you, Brad. This is what it is. So it didn't go to plan. And I was really discouraged for like a good, maybe I said like a good month or so. I was down about it, but we reflected and then we did another one that went better. But it's part of the process. This is part of like going after your purpose and trying things. Things aren't always going to go well. It's like the first time you ask a girl out and she goes, ha, 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 ha. I'm not interested in you. It happens, man. But you just got to bounce back. So that's what happened, Hamza. And it was humiliating. It's all on camera as well, but I'm never going to show that.
Yeah, send us the link. Boys, if you scroll down to the description, I'll link it for you.
Never that. That's stayed in the archive. Until I blow up and become more successful, then I'll show that one. Horrific.
So I think we'll wrap it up. Now, Josh, let's say a 21-year-old guy has watched this far. He's pretty inspired. He is well into his self-improvement, but it boils down to the mindset again. His mindset's feeling pretty negative, and especially because of inconsistency. It's his productivity, his discipline, all the success in life. It goes up for 3 days, and then he kind of forgets self-improvement is a thing for like 2 weeks, and then it goes up in 2 weeks. You know, you must have seen this yourself. So what would you say to him?
What I say to him, I'd say, look, don't beat yourself down about it. Like, it's happened. Like, I think the one thing that makes it 10 times worse is that you judge yourself for it. You judge yourself and then you're ashamed and you're like, oh, I'm a failure. There's something wrong with me. Get back on the wagon. One thing I'd highly recommend is to get yourself a mentor or get yourself some level of accountability because accountability is what changes the game. And that's what helped me gain consistency. Just at the beginning, it's like the training wheels in the bike. When I had my mentor and he was on me and was saying, oh, have you done this? Have you done that? It helped me. One thing that you can do if you can't afford a mentor is do something that I call severe consequences for failure. So I remember last year when I wanted to discipline myself with my sleeping, I wanted to start waking up at 5 a.m. and I was struggling to do it. So what I did was I went on my Instagram and I told everyone, I said, listen, guys, this is what it is. I'm waking up at 5 a.m. every day for the next 30 days. If I fail to do so, and you don't see me do a little Insta live when I wake up, then I'm going to transfer every single one of you 30 pounds. Right? I said it out loud like that. So everybody watched the story and they're like, oh, is that what it is? And people would wake up just to see if I woke up at 5 a.m. Right? So sometimes you need those severe consequences of failure. Sometimes you struggle to be inconsistent because there are no repercussions to the failure. Like, think about when you go to work. Like, sometimes you can be up all night playing games, but on 2 hours sleep, but you still make it to work. Right? You make it to work because the consequences, like if you fail to go to work, you're about to lose your job. You lose your job, you can't pay rent. Your landlord's going to kick you out. The consequences are. So sometimes you need to put that external pressure on yourself to get things done. So I'd recommend severe consequences for failure if you're struggling to keep yourself disciplined. Sometimes you need that.
That stuff works. Invest in yourself for some kind of monetary loss for when you don't do the thing. There's a lot of research that's very promising. Even like, because we hate losing money. So the smallest amount, £1, £5, you do the same thing as Josh. You make your social media into your whole accountability partner. Now you've got 50 people who are keeping you accountable, and you really, really don't want to lose that money because you wanted to do this anyway.
Hey,
they wanted to do this anyway. They wanted the results of self-improvement.
And that's it.
That's worth the money by far. And so you're going to find that you're so much more motivated and disciplined when you've got money on the line.
It's true. When there's money on the line, there's something on the line. So something extremely painful. Like my cousin as well. He plays. Well, it's not my cousin. It's my friend's. It's my brother's little brother. But I just call him my cousin. It's like family. So he plays football. He plays for the United Academy. So we train together on the field. And sometimes to get the best out of him, you need to put consequences for failing. So like there'll be a challenge where we'll do like a little one-on-one thing, and there's a big massive field around the house. And I was like, okay, like if you don't beat me, or if you don't get at least this many number of dribbles, you're gonna have to hop around this whole field on one leg twice. He's like, "Born that. That's a big field." That sounds hella extreme, right? But it works for him, and he grabs because he's thinking, "Born that huge field over there, can't do it." So you sometimes you need that, man. You need that little fire on your behinds to get you going.
Honestly, even do I. I've got my behavior tracker on my wall, and one of the things I recently started doing is sending a picture of it at the end of the month to the Discord and to the email. And so last month, it wasn't looking so great. Like, you know, there's a lot of progress, meditated every single day, gratitude journaled every day apart from 1 or 2 days, but I missed quite a lot of my stretch routine, a couple of days of push-ups, a couple of days of bedtime. And so I had to send this picture, being, you know, the leader, the guy who's the self-improvement like master compared to all of you guys who are following my advice. And here I'm sending the picture of me not having absolutely fantastic consistency. So I sent it and I was like, oh fuck, I might actually like lose my business here. These boys might just like, look at this guy. Why are we following his advice? He can't even.
He's a fraud.
And now every single one ticked.
That's it. That's it. Because you're the leader. You can't be leading the pack and then not doing the thing that you preach. And sometimes you find that the cost of self-improvement is a lot, man. It's not always easy. Like being disciplined isn't an easy thing. You don't always get it right. But you need to put the conditions of the parameters in place to make sure that you do succeed. So, hey, it costs a lot to be at the top end. You got to make the sacrifices. It is what it is.
That's going to be a video of mine soon. And the way I explain it, boys, is that you're making a sacrifice either way. You've been used to making sacrifices for your future self, to sacrifice your future. And that's a way, way bigger sacrifice. And now we're sacrificing the easy things. We're sacrificing the chocolate bar and the video games and the OnlyFans 2 a.m. morning routine. Yeah, we're still sacrificing something, but it's for the greater good. And your future self will thank you for it.
He will thank you big time. Because you know, there's nothing worse than like regret or apathy. Because like, don't let this be you. Because I know that I've noticed this as well. Even in myself and people that I know, like you can have an attitude of apathy. So that's whereby you pretend that you don't care about things. Like you see people going after the goals, you're like, doesn't bother me. Don't really care about it. Why should I try? Well, behind that attitude is just fear. And what happens with the attitude of, I don't care about my future or things don't really matter, is it bites you in the backside years down the line. Because years down the line, you realize, oh, damn, my life could have been so much better had I done all these things, had I made the sacrifices. Now there's regret. You know, now you're trying to play catch up, you know, on things that you knew. You came to this, like you've watched this, like Hamza's videos, right? You don't watch the lives. You don't bought the courses. But you've had the opportunity to hear all this. And because you've heard all this, you're in a position now where you can make an informed decision. You know better at this point. Yeah. So don't let that be you.
Very common when you're somewhat of a young man, especially if you're in your studies as well. It's so common to think, oh, I wish I could go back and just study harder because I'd have better grades right now. So many guys say that to me. I wish I could go back. And I always ask them the same question. What is your future self thinking about you right now? Is he thinking the same? Is he thinking like, oh, I wish I could go back, slap some sense into the 22-year-old me? Like, why are you still, like you're literally complaining about your younger self? Well, you are my younger self right now. Set some stuff, set up a nice life for your future self, and that literally is the point of self-improvement.
That's it, and it goes back to what you talk about a lot on the channel: delayed gratification. That'll change your life, guys. Delayed gratification. You realize how much time you actually have. Like when you come off social media, you're not binging all that, on Netflix, you delete your Netflix account. You have a lot of hours in the day. Like I don't have time. We all have time. Like, even if you're working a 9 to 5, well, that's like 8 hours of your day gone. Okay, and it may benefit of the doubt for commute plus 2 hours, 10. So you've still got another, and then let's minus maybe 6 hours for sleep, 6-7 hours for sleep. Well, what's that? 16, 17 hours gone out of your day. You still have a lot of time to improve yourself, even if it's just 1 hour a day. It adds up, man. Everything accumulates.
That's it. Josh, absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast and to speak to you again, man. I'm very grateful.
Yeah, man. A pleasure, bro. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Boys, if you liked Josh's vibe, because let's be honest, this is an enthusiastic, sexy, confident guy, intellectual. He is massive as well. Flex your chest for the boys.
Oh, let me make a little peg dance.
His content is going to be linked below. His Instagram especially is an absolute gold mine if you're on self-improvement. Click on the link and you'll see why. Literally, how many videos do you have up now?
Bro, there's so many on there now.
Hundreds.
So many. But I'm going to be uploading some of them on my YouTube once again. I want to get back on that. But on Insta, I'm going to be flooding you with content real soon. But at the minute, just 1 a week for now. Just for now. We got some things in the storehouse coming.
Good, man. Boys, description right now. Click the links. You'll see his content. And I really, really think you're going to get a lot of value from that. But yeah. Thank you for watching, boys. I appreciate that you got this far. Josh, hope you do. I hope you take care of yourself, and I wish you the best, my brother.
You too, my brother. We'll catch up in a bit.
Take care, man.
Peace.